rather quick because there's many slides on this one with a lot of attached audio and video. In order for the county opposition to get going, it had to get delayed to 2007, which was a whole new county council coming into play, and there were a lot of things going on behind the scenes to make that happen. And DHEC had told us in the fourth quarter of 2006 that they're ready to issue the permit, and we had gotten a promise by January 4th, 2007 that would be done. And then at that moment, Senator Wes Hayes called the director of DHEC, which then told Art Braswell, which was the permitting manager, to halt and not issue the permit until Senator Hayes was fully apprised. Now, whether that was a coincidence or intentional, that definitely gave the county council the opportunity on January 8th to get involved, and they did in an extraordinary way. They created an emergency ordinance, which had not, I don't think emergency ordinance had been done. You know, it's typically like when a hurricane or something happens, but they created that to create a 60-day moratorium on landfill permits, which created a lot of litigation. But this is the agenda of for that day, and there was no mention of anything related to the landfill, and therefore that's why they used the emergency ordinance to get involved in the fight, so to speak. This is it. You'll hear some video from Councilman Chappell, who created the motion.
Well, I didn't hear you.
If you want to make a motion on the landfill issue, it's the appropriate time to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will at this time make a motion that we, the motion being that we adopt tonight a 60-day moratorium on landfills in York County for the purpose of getting a better handle and a better understanding on a site plan and upgrading our solid waste facilities.
Okay, so we have a motion to have a 60-day moratorium on landfills in order for the staff to do more, research on the purpose and locations. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and second. Any discussion? Mr. Lee?
Point of order for Mr. McCowan. This is not listed on the agenda for tonight for action. I'd like to know if this is a motion that is acceptable under our rules of order.
It is not listed on the agenda. It is a matter that came out of a discussion in the executive session. I think the motion can be made, whether that may be subject to some question. Something that will have to be determined, but I think the motion can be made.
Just please note for the record. Thank you.
Now, did you say that the motion was in order?
I said the motion could be made.
Well, as you can hear, the motion was made, the emergency ordinance was created the next day, and then that created a lot of litigation. The city of Rock Hill sued to basically create a restraining order, as did Griffin and as did DHEC, as far as getting involved with the process. A temporary restraining order was issued on January 22nd. Then after analysis on February 15th, Judge Hayes lifted the TRO and basically said that DHEC alone has the right to issue solid waste permits. And DHEC quickly acted upon that. After reviewing it, February 22nd, we received our permit. I'm going to quickly go through this. On February 28th, some extraordinary things continued to happen. Between the second and third reading of the solid waste management plan, they almost totally revamped the whole C&D ordinance to basically make new landfills virtually impossible to compete against the existing landfills, which one is owned by the county, and also basically said there's no need for any new landfills. Now that created more litigation from us. We're now a plaintiff suing the county as a result of some of the things that happened during this process. Green Eagle, another applicant for a C&D landfill in another quadrant of the county, was basically now told they cannot continue, and therefore created litigation on their behalf against the county. And during the same time, the county decided to appeal the permit, and they hired a Jimmy Chandler. The YouTube Exhibit 2 of 2 is extremely important. It's 6 minutes of video that talk about some of the craziness that was going on the council. I'd highly encourage you to listen to that. That's the meat. You'll really hear what was going on, because there was a lot of concern on the county council, and that's a lot of the video and audio from that. Now the craziness part started as far as legal fees. There was lots of depositions that went on before in a year's time between April of 2007 and 2008. During that time, Christy Cox was primarily representing the county. She was coordinating all these depositions. We had a big problem with that, being that she was representing a landfill competitor that could only succeed if we failed, the Buddy Clausen situation, so it was extreme concern. But she did excuse herself before the judge had to make the decision to ask her to stop representing the county and getting so involved. But she stayed involved, but she wasn't officially doing in the position. There was a lot of depositions. Alex Hafley's one. There's a whole nother story there, but I'm just going to skip that because of sake of time. Jimmy Chandler requested more time to do more depositions, just further delays. Due to his sickness, our original court date was delayed, and then we did have a preliminary hearing on February 26, 2009, and the judge ruled that she wanted to have a full trial, which that full trial did happen in May 2009. It was a 3-day process, extremely detailed and extensive. But I'm very happy to say that the judge on September 11, 2009 issued a final order, and it was a great order. I've heard from more than one person this is one of the best orders they've ever seen. To me, it was in very plain English. She highlighted the 4 issues that were at hand. And I'm going to go through these quickly, but you can pause it, and also you see the link above where you can get the full 31-page order. I got about a dozen of the 31 pages that I thought were most important. The first part being the how she summarized the facts of the case. So I'm just going to go through these and just strongly encourage you to read it. I'm not a lawyer, and I did find this pretty easy to read and understand and follow the case. And of course, we were very pleased with her conclusions and all 4 of the reasons that the county appealed. She very plainly stated why there were not proper reasons to appeal the permit. And this is the part where there's conclusions of law, where she comes in after she stated the facts, and then she basically articulates why there are not proper reasons to appeal the permit. Pause at any time when you want to read this. But I'm going to go through it quickly because we need to do these slides in less than 15 minutes per YouTube's requirement. All that said, October 5th, 2009, the County Council did decide to continue the appeal process, which now took it to the Administrative Law Court. During that meeting, there were some people who spoke to encourage for the County Council to continue the appeal. One was, surprisingly, Representative Ralph Norman, and during that, more surprisingly, he admitted that he was involved with an outside group who wanted to do a landfill in York County. Now, he didn't say this during his presentation, but the fact is that outside group could only go forward if we failed. And at the same time, he was a representative signing legislation and trying to delay and ultimately trying to make our landfill fail. So it's kind of interesting. And I had a meeting with Mr. Norman on January 4th, 2008, and he did inform me of this outside group, and he let me know too that was Bruce Lovelace was the person who was representing them, and he is a landfill operator near Columbia and knows kind of the routine on how to sabotage or delay others from getting permits. And obviously he was involved with Mr. Norman. And Mr. Norman did tell me that he thought that Bruce Lovelace told him that he was the one that created all that false information distributed under the name of Concerned Citizens of Rock Hill. I wish I'd known it back in 2006 and 2005, but obviously I did find out in 2008 that there were some behind-the-scenes shenanigans going on. And again,
if you don't mind, if you can give your name and address.
Ralph Norman, 907 Maple Hill Lane.
Thank you.
I'm speaking in front of you tonight as a taxpayer. We don't have any land to develop near Vernsdale. We don't have any developments going on in Vernsdale. This is as a taxpayer of York County. I was involved with it 4 years ago when we signed a resolution, all the House and Senate members signed a resolution that Bessie Moody, I think, presented that she wanted to change the distance from where the landfill could be located. And I was involved in an outside group that wanted to do an alternative site because they didn't think this site was well suited. I'm coming before you tonight because for 2 reasons. One, I think, like Reagan said, this site was sold under the premise that is not what it was. a recycling center. They made reference to a landfill, but it was a vague restaurant. It was a vague reference. And, you know, I wondered if I came to the county or to the city and presented something as a recycling center and then did a landfill, I'd be run out of the county, and rightfully so, as a developer. I'm opposed to it because of the location, and I'm opposed to it because of the road infrastructure.
You know, the key point there is that he's admitting that he was with the outside group, and I could gladly argue his points. Number one, landfill was fully discussed during the process. Please listen to the 10-minute exhibit that shows the city approval process, which where landfill was in there, and there was a whole lot of discussion about the roads. That was an industrial road that's been used for years for industry only, so very confident in our positions there. Now, unfortunately, Jimmy Chandler, the county's representative, passed away in August 2010, which did create some more considerable delay, but his partner took over from there and continued the process. So May 4th, 2011, when we got in front of the South Carolina Court of Appeals, that process was pretty quick, just a half day, and the presentations were made more specific to why they wanted to appeal Judge Matthews' decision. But very pleased to report on February 8th, by a 2-to-1 vote, we were able to get the permit affirmed again. And of course now the county has until February 23rd to decide to whether they want to appeal or not. And that's why I'm here today stating the facts and of course we're still willing to work with the county. There are 7 slides following this one. I'm going to be rather quick. This is a process where, and you can pause each one to fully read them. But the bottom line is that Councilman Chappell often during key moments of votes would make statements that were, in our opinion, fear without facts. And these are his statements in bold and our responses to his statements. The reason I'm being quick here, of course you can pause and fully read them, but after this you get to hear the audio of him actually making these statements. And there's 7 total that I again call fear without facts. And then here comes the portion where he's responding and the actual him saying it.
And I've got the email that they knew what they were doing. And for our city manager to send out emails to all the council members of the city and other dignitaries and officials and say, don't dare mention landfill. I wouldn't mind having to look at York County garbage, but I'm not looking at York County garbage. This is out-of-state garbage. This is not, very little of this is for York County. It's for profiteering outside of the county. The ones on Vernsdale Road is going to be 140 foot high, sitting on a clay slab of 2 feet, and it's going to be the highest building in York County. It's going to be the highest building in our county, within the city limits of Rock Hill. And all this beautification we have all helped and promoted and endorsed. Now we're going to set a landfill, as you can see from a wonderful scenery you develop. You're going to be able to turn south and look at the highest landfill between Miami and Maine. We got 25 multi-million cleanup, 25 multi-million in dollar down to do it with. And now on top of that, I've had some help from the council, but they're trying to dump millions and millions of tons from North Carolina and Virginia on top of my people out there in the same location. And now the engineers are telling me the hydraulics of dumping something else almost on top of it, 140 foot high. I think we cut it down to 80, 6 times or 9 times, a half a mile long, is dangerous to break a crust, to let it get somewhere out. We're the dumping ground. We're the dumping ground for the whole upper states and the southern states. They've outlawed it and said you're not going to expand. We've got a school less than a half a mile from Thermochem, and less than 3/4 of a mile from this thing I'm telling you about. There's been some poor engineering here when Rock Hill would allow all that, and it was county, and we denied it. This council denied all those houses in there. Got 800 and some houses, or maybe too high on the number. Then they put 2 schools there. And then they line a contaminated place to accomplish 2 more contaminations.